All right, let's get started. Make sure you grab your coffee, tea, some cheese, veggies from the back. Come have a seat. We're going to get going here. Good?
Good.
Excellent. Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another Power Network group. So glad you guys made it through the storm. I don't know whether we control the weather, and that's what happens. Like every time we run a Power Network group, there's a snowstorm. Hands down, it happens. So you can blame us. But we're all here with amazing people, and I want to just say, if you are sitting in one of these seats today, it's because somebody has bought and gifted you a ticket, so make sure you go up to that person and give them a great big hug. This is how I get hugs. My husband works away, so yeah, exactly. Thank you. I'll take them at break time when we're doing more network. You could just line up and I'll take all the hugs. No, really appreciate you guys being here. The whole point of the Power Network group is to support each other, lift each other up. We are stronger together. It's about building a strong, active network here in Calgary. And I am so happy to have these amazing hosts here today to take you on this journey, to introduce our speakers and make this kind of a lighthearted, fun event. I'd like to introduce you to Bruno Lindia. He's the amazing storyteller. If you need a minute to talk to Bruno, take an hour, because you're going to be so entertained. Never a dull moment talking to this amazing man, and he has been such an inspiration to myself and to Adam, who we've both co-founded Enta Solutions and purchased the YYC Calgary business. So having him as a mentor has been really great, really appreciate it. And then he's gonna co-host with the beautiful, the amazing, she'll tell you what she thinks, Miranda Salas. Awesome girl. We have gone through a workshop with her, and she is just incredible, very insightful, and her strategic mind is truly one you wanna pick. So you definitely talk to her during the break as well. So I wanna introduce these two. Put your hands together. Thank you so much.
Wow, we got to hang out here more often. Thank you for the nice, kind words.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I got a text from Miranda this morning.
Oh, Lord.
It was like 4 in the morning. Those of you who have kids, you know what I'm talking about. And what am I doing up? But anyways, that's what happens when you get old. And she goes, how do you know it's Power Network group down?
It's snowing.
It's snowing. So it doesn't matter if we have it in June or July, it just snows. But, so yeah, start it off. How's it going?
Great. I am so stoked that this room is full. Like, how exciting. And there's snow outside. So everybody give yourself a round of applause for showing up. And yeah, we're going to keep it light, we're going to keep it fun, but we have some incredible speakers coming at us today, so don't worry, there'll be lots of time to network and Q&A at the end and all that good stuff. So we, let's just get started. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get started. And the whole name of this game is, we have different themes. This one is for funding your business. We had Kickstarter 2024 in January. Seems like yesterday.
Seriously?
It's crazy. You got your taxes done yet?
No.
No.
That's for July.
Yeah, that's July item. And so we just thought, kind of get up and everybody's like pretty high and happy, and then all of a sudden February comes and then March, and we're saying, you know what, businesses are always trying to fund themselves ethically, and what are you guys looking at me because I'm Italian? Ethically, legally, don't worry about that. And then, give you guys some ideas, small, medium-sized, and large businesses. Notwithstanding, you guys meet people, get some ideas. And before we get started, I want to point something out, is that we're a small business, right? And we started this with a mission about, and you want to ask us later, but kind of a bit of a mission to promote small, medium-sized businesses on our platform, get you noticed. And we're really happy. We don't have a slide on it right now because we don't want to interrupt the presentations, but we are now in 14 cities. So we got...
Due to my strategic mind, I believe that was
That's right. Yeah, I drive Miranda crazy. We have a great partner in Greg Belanger. Give him a hand, please. And we've got somebody watching live right now, Al Lemmy from Concept Professional. Without him, I don't know what we'd be doing.
Our taxes would not be done.
Yeah, we'd be like in jail. But we got YYC, YEG in Edmonton, YOW in Ottawa. I got to learn all those.
On and on and on.
Yeah, we've got Hamilton, Toronto, Montreal. Can't believe it. So we're really, really, really happy. Kelowna.
Okay, show off.
Yeah,
we don't have to get to 14. Big city market.
Yeah, so we're really happy. We have only you to thank, and the great folks at Enta Solutions. Their tireless work is like never goes unnoticed. So thank you very much for all that. So we're gonna have our first speaker, and can I say we're gonna get a little jiggy with it? Yeah, there you go. If you remember, goaltender for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, Sebastian Jaguar. So we have Leslie Jaguar, and she comes with 33 years of experience in the SMB space, and she'll open the evening with an overview of funding strategies and opportunities, and we're really, really, really happy to have you. So give it up for Leslie.
I will bring this way down because I'm not near as tall as them. Thank you. Just don't click the side buttons. Don't touch the side buttons. You know that's going to happen, right?
I'm here. I've got your back.
Okay. Is that good? Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up at the back of the room? Yep. Okay, perfect. Super. So I've been asked to open the conversation on funding. So if we go ahead and get into that. You've heard I've worked in the SMB space for 30 years. I generally connect with CEOs that are specifically looking to scale and exit their companies. I've done several. They are all now retired in foreign countries. I am still here in the snow, working on another growth strategy. So in that space, there's a lot of funding that we always look at in order to try and help with the growth. So I'm going to take you through some stuff that I've looked at that we've used in our past and our strategies, and hopefully you'll find some tips in there. With respect to funding, you can find funding for either businesses or also sometimes for projects. And the funding will help you scale and grow, expand into new markets, and also reduce expenses. So the key, though, is being able to articulate what it is that your objectives are. Because that's really what you're going to need to do in order to assess the programs that are out there. Not everybody can have an IPO like Alibaba and Facebook, so here we are. Okay, so looking at the types of funding, they really break down into three main categories. Loans, everybody knows what loans are. Investors who provide equity financing in exchange of shares of ownership in the business. Now that is really big money space, as everybody knows. You're pitching VCs and PE firms. You can secure much larger sums of money, but really to be successful in that space, you need experienced skills. You need to be talking to the right groups who are interested in your companies, and that requires research. You need to have a very tight story and the ability to pass a depth level of due diligence. So I've pitched to about 20 different PE and VC funding groups over the last probably 15 years, and you will underestimate how long that takes. It's a lot of time and energy, big payouts, but you really have to be prepared in order to chase that money. So tonight, primarily, we're talking about grants and government programs, and I don't want you to underestimate how grants and government programs can really help drive your business forward and scale it. Because there's a lot of great money and a lot of great programs out there that can do that. You can see staffing, research, development, commercialization. There's grants for sales and marketing, exporting. There's a lot of money that is out there. Just got to know where to look. So really, in order to be successful in this space, I kind of always approach it in 3 steps. One, how to find the funding, how to create a strategy, and that's really going to be key, and I'm going to spend some time on that. How to apply, and then I'm going to leave you with some tips on where to start. Okay, how to find programs. Obviously, you can use the online resources, the internet. That is going to be a rabbit hole. You will find a group, and then they will have 12 programs, and you need to figure out which one of the 12 programs is the one that's going to meet you, and then it's going to bounce you over to another group. That is what it's like. Okay, so one of the other places that you can really find information around funding is exactly in places like this. Talk to the person beside you, talk to the person behind you, talk to them about what programs they've experienced, have they been successful, and what made them successful in those applications. So it's a great, great way to learn. There are professional services companies, we've worked with one or two, that really, if you can articulate what your objectives are, they will then use their expertise as a service to basically tell you which funds they think you should chase. So there are companies that are out there that do offer those types of services if you need assistance. And then my other tip is really look at all levels, okay? There are national, federal programs, there are provincial programs, and there are local programs. The list that you can see on the I don't know, left or right side of the screen, that's a list of all the programs that I've actually applied to. And so there's a lot of different things. Each one of those has a different focus, a different objective. And so you really need to make sure that you know what it is that you're trying to do in order to find the program that you need. We've applied most of the applications. I've only lost on one grant application in my career. And there's a way to do it if you're going to do it. So the first place I suggest is create a strategy. So whenever companies bring me in and we're looking for scaling money, I create a chart that basically, when I'm in rabbit holes looking for programs, I can pop it somewhere with a link to where I go, and I can identify what's the timing on it, quickly what are the requirements, and what's the objective of the fund or grant program. I put it all out there, and then I go back and cut back through and say, okay, now which ones are right for us now? Which ones are going to be right for us next quarter? Which ones are going to be right for us at the end of the year? Because sometimes what happens is you need to put operational programs in place in order to be successful in the programs that you're applying for. They require information that you don't have. Well, you got to go find it and do it. You're going to hear later, I think somebody's speaking on SHRED. You got to get your time entries and your traceability to what it is you're doing in development in order to qualify that grant. Sometimes that takes months to put in place. The rigor and the understanding and the learning from the employees on what it is they're supposed to do in order for you to be successful with that application, okay? So that's the first real key is, build yourself a strategy so that you know your timeline. The next one is really focus on how to apply. You really need to learn what drives the program. Make sure you understand the eligibility requirements. Don't waste your time if you're not going to qualify. And if there are program guides, always when you're down deep on those different programs, if there's program guides and you think that program might fit you, download it, read it. If there are advisors available to talk to, call them, talk to them. Because the information they give you is how to be successful. This is what we're looking for, and that's what you need to find out, okay? I will also tell you that when you go through applications, the more dollars in the grant program, the more complicated the application will be. Some of these grant programs require year ends, so your last 3 years of financials, business development plans, job descriptions, training, mentoring plans, business development. Like there's a lot of different elements that you need to sometimes attach to your application when you submit. Alberta Innovates is one that requires a lot of backup information on their grant programs, but they're an excellent organization to work with. Lastly, I want to just leave you with a few tips for success. So this is what I've learned. Learn as much as you can about the criteria. Ensure your application aligns with what the program is looking for. One size does not fit all, okay? You want them to read your application and say, that's exactly what we're looking for. So let me give you an example. You could write, our product is a new technology that will enable us to increase sales. Sounds fine. Or you can write, our product is leveraging new innovative technology that will enable us to drive growth with increased sales, expansion into new markets, and create more jobs. The latter is what gets you the applications to be successful, right? Because that's what they're looking for. And the first one, there's nothing wrong with it. You probably were still going to create new jobs. But if you didn't bring that into the language of your application, they would not really make the connection, and you're not connecting to what it is they're trying to drive. The next thing is watch your timelines. Many of these things are first come, first serve. If you aren't ready within the first few days of the program intake opening, you won't be successful. Perfect example is the FedGov's student summer program, where you can get lots of funding for students. If your application isn't in within the first 3 days, you probably won't hit it. I usually have my application in within the first day that it's ready, because I have job descriptions and mentoring and training plans prepped and ready to go months before it opens up. It's every January. The next thing is that I'm going to leave you with a piece of advice is start with the student programs. There are several student programs out there. There's ITEX, WIL, there's the FedGov summer student program. Hire the students at a reduced rate. These programs will pay $7, $8 an hour against the cost for these students, and get them to do the research for you on all of the grants and programs that are out there. Get them to create the chart and the strategy and lay out a timeline of the grants to go after. It will be cheaper to have them do it than you guys. So that's where I would start, is the student programs. Lastly, I'll leave you with find others who have been successful with the target programs, learn from their success and what makes them successful. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to some other speakers who are going to speak on some of the specific programs that I've applied to in the past. They're all great programs. Listen and take lots of notes. And enjoy yourself tonight, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Leslie. And just for everybody's information, we're kind of going a little quick on the presentations, not hurrying people, but thank you very much, that was good. Most of the speakers, well, the speakers are going to be kind of hanging out in that little corner for a little bit during the break, so make sure you go there and give them a card, get some information. These government programs, there's a reason why we brought up this topic this time around. We're going to be touching on different things and different people in the crowd that have been able to benefit from it. And my 2 cents worth, and I remember used to working at the government and the CRA, these programs are to create more opportunities so the government kind of collects more taxes. So they're not just doing it for free. So help me help you, as Jerry Maguire would say, and go around the room, whoever's done it, they're going to give you some information. So that was great, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Our next speaker up is going to be Jude Brown, who's going to give us some actionable advice on leveraging scientific research and development programs for growth. Let's welcome Jude.
Thank you very much. That's all I have to do. Just have to click the button.
You're not the wrong guy.
Don't hit the side button, Jude.
Don't hit the side button. Awesome. My name is Jude. I am from Bloom. We help people shred. I have never done a presentation at 8 minutes, but I'm absolutely up to the challenge and looking forward to it. So I'm gonna really jump right into it real quick, and if you have questions after, feel free. So what is shred? Shred is the Canadian government's way of trying to offset some of the cost of that research and development activity that you may be doing in your business. The people that work at the CRA, they're fantastic. We're working with them in audits all the time. Most of them really, really believe in the program. They truly want you to be competitive at a local, regional, national, and international level. And so as a shred consultant, I often have people who approach us and I will hear something like, just tell me what to say and I'll write it down. That's when we say find another consultant, right? It has to be real. I'm going to get into the little bit of the details here, but just know that the CRA takes it seriously as their primary job of trying to get innovation going in Canada. Now, what does it cost I always like to start there. So first of all, I'm going to be going to a little bit of detail, and one of the things that shred consultants specifically love to do is to provide you a ton of detail, try to overload you, scare you so that you will hire the consultant. I am 100% not trying to do that. In fact, most of the time we say no because it's not a fit, and we spend a ton of time working with new companies, giving them free templates, giving them pretend shred reports. If anybody contacts me and wants that stuff, I will hand that all over to you, and I can even hook you up at the end of the year for a short session for someone to look over your T661, which I'll get into later. Now, if you were going to hire someone and not do it yourself, shred consultants charge all sorts of different ways. You will often hear a thing called a success fee. You'll ask, what does that mean? The shred consultant will tell you. I'm going to really be picking on shred consultants. They will tell you something like, we're always successful, we've got a 100% rate, but in the world of shred consultants, if you had a $100,000 claim, they got you $1, well, they got you $1. That's a success, right? I don't think it is, but that is how they will look at that sort of thing. So their success fee will typically be, you'll see Big Four shred consultants, this is like from KPMG, E&Y, they will do your shred for you happily. Typically you'll see 15 to 25%. I have seen lower, but that always means they're doing your T2 as well, which is not cheap. You'll have boutique accounting firms like MNP, for example. They're typically in the 10 to 25% range. Dedicated shred boutiques, 20 to 30%, and the individual shred consultants are usually 10 to 25%. We got this from shreducation.ca. They would technically be a competitor of ours. That is an amazing source of information if you want more. You can also get people to do your shred claim on an hourly basis from $250 to $750. If you show up and talk to a consultant and say, I just got audited, or I'm in the middle of an audit and I've got a big emergency, you're going to be more towards that $750 range. If you show up well in advance, everything's in order, you're going to be the other side. The difference is, as you're paying that person, they're more worried about billing hours and perhaps not as focused and as aligned as you are in the actual size of the claim. You can absolutely find people that are fantastic that charge in that manner. Okay, so when you put together a shred claim, there's two parts to it. There is the financial report and there's the technical report. The three main qualifying criteria for the program are technological uncertainty, systematic investigation, and technological advancement. So, super fast, you are making the Jell-O plane. You and I, we've decided to, like Bruno and I go to Bruno, I got this great idea for the Jell-O plane. He's like, that's the best idea I've ever heard. Let's do it. He gives me $10 million, and we start working on this thing. So it is uncertain. Like right now in the world, there is no Jell-O plane. So the level of technology is here to create the Jell-O plane, but we need to get it to here. The gap in between, where we're totally uncertain whether we can get this thing to actually fly, that is probably where the shred is. That's also consequently where the R&D is. Right, so all the stuff you do before that, doing all the standard approaches, like we tried strawberry, we tried lime, none of that would work. Well, now we're having to mix flavors, get scientists and engineers to try to get this Jell-O to really stick and really be strong and handle that air. All the stuff that you have to pay an engineer to do to get from here to up to here, that is where your technological uncertainty lies. When the CRA is digging into this stuff, they're absolutely looking for failure. And also, by the way, there's a lot of people who think, well, hey, I've got this novel idea. The CRA does not care about novelty at all. If you were curing 50 types of cancer all at once, and you had this great idea on how to do it, and you just did it, and there was no failure, well, there's no shred there. You need to have iterations and failure, and when they're trying to see if there's a technological uncertainty, they will look for that failure. Systematic investigation, they have this idea that you're wearing a white lab coat every day at your office, and you're sitting down, and you're coming up with a hypothesis, and then you're testing the hypothesis, you're looking at that data, and you're seeing, well, we fixed 3 things on the Jell-O plane, but we broke 7 other things. And so you've got to come up with another hypothesis for the Jell-O plane, and then so on and so forth. That is the sort of systematic investigation they want to see. I'll get into how you would actually manage that. Number 3, technological advancement, it's a gimme. If you have number 1 and you have number 2, even if in the entire fiscal period you accomplish nothing with 15 different hypotheses, that is now part of your IP, and the CRA understands that you now have that knowledge of all the things that did not work. So in their view, you're actually closer to your solution because you have tried a bunch of things. So, you've got a shred champion. The shred champion is maybe you hired a consultant and that's your shred champion. Maybe you are doing it internally. So the role of that consultant will be to do those technical interviews, prepare the write-ups. There's going to be a financial determination. Earlier, the prior speaker mentioned timesheets. That's the first thing they look at in an audit. I'll get into that in detail in a second. You also have to prepare the tax schedules or some sort of Excel spreadsheet that shows the total hours worked by the person who's doing the shred eligible work, and then what percentage of that work was actually shred eligible. Then you can figure out what was the total amount, and then from there you'll figure out what your shred amount is. And then of course, if you do get into an audit, you will get into an audit every 4 to 5 years. That shred champion is the one who's going to guide you through that process and will answer the questions to the CRA and stuff like that. When you do finally submit your shred claim, it is about 120 days. I have seen faster. We just had a client who got it back in 10 days. That's the fastest I've ever seen it in my life, but we always tell people 120 days. We got that from Boast, who's probably the biggest shred consultancy outside of the Big Four in Canada. How do you determine how big the claim is? So shred is a type of program where you have to spend the money and then you get it back after. Sometime after, as you saw from the 120 days. So it comes from employees, contractors. If you are in manufacturing, for example, of any sort, and you have some materials that get burned, perhaps making prototypes, you can claim a percentage of that as well. In general, employees will get twice as much back as a contractor. It depends what province, but in your province it is about 54 to 70% you will see back. That's a combined rate from the provincial and the federal amount. Contractors are roughly half of that. You can see materials 32 to 46% when you're trying to do a rough draft of what you'd be looking at getting back. So how much time do I have left? Do I have a minute? 1 minute. Perfect, 1 minute. Okay, I can take 2, very nice. So how would you actually manage this in your business? So there's 2 ways you can do it. There's the minimum standard, which I would call the shite standard, but worst case scenario would be the end of the year is over, you're trying to wrap everything up, you sit down, you do those 2 portions, right? You look at you get the final payroll in, you've got all the payroll information, you can figure out what people's hours are, you take a guess at how much R&D work they did based on whatever, a lot of things that I could go into based on the evidence. That is the problem with the minimum standard. There's a bunch of problems, but you're creating stuff outside of the fiscal period. The CRA loves the word contemporaneous. They want everything that you do for that shred project, especially documentation, to be within the project period. As soon as you create it outside the project period, that's an automatic red flag. Also, when you go to talk to people, like an engineer, about what they did a year ago, they're gonna hate your guts. Like, I don't know what I had for breakfast last week. Now you're gonna ask me how I rebuilt this smart home, 6 months ago. Best practices. So you get your strategy, you get your people together, you decide who your shred champion is. Every quarter, you have the shred champion talk to the people who did the work and just ask them to explain, like, what did you work on last quarter? What problems did you have? How did you overcome those problems? Really, really dig into the details of those programs, and that's where you're trying to find those iterations. Create a diary. Just write this down, record it in Fireflies or whatever you use on your phone. And then from there, just do a quick summary, make sure that everybody agrees it's good, boom, you get it. You do that every quarter, you do that every quarter, and at the end of the year, you now have all the stuff that you need to create the technical report. I'm not going to get any more detail on that. That is also every quarter when you want to do your timesheets, because it'll be fresh in your head. You'll know who took vacation. The first thing the CRA does when they check your timesheets is they check the people on the timesheets and see if anyone said they were working on a stat holiday. And the second they find one error, now they're going to dig in. It's one of the biggest, most common mistakes you'll see. You get to the end of the year, you put together your report. I swear I'm not touching the button. Oh, you're moving me on. Thank you so much. Anyway, then you get to the end of the year, you create everything, you're done. First time you do a shred claim, you're going to have a thing called an FTCAS, a First Time Claimant Advisory Service. It's just a thing with CRA where they try to explain shred as. It's super helpful, very boring, takes a long time. You need to put your best foot forward because they will make internal notes on your file. There's a million other ways of triggering an audit, and they're all sort of automatic matrices. I could talk to you for an hour about audits, but I won't do that today, so you don't go to sleep. There is the fastest presentation I have ever done on shred in my life. Thank you.
I think what I took away from that is I would definitely just hire you to do it.
good trick right there.
Yeah. 8 minutes of why you should just hire it out. No, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. And your challenge was well accepted because you just killed it. Thank you. That's a lot of information in a short amount of time. So definitely, if that is of interest of diving in, you can find Jude during our networking session and get some free advice.
You know, I think a lot of you own a business in here. Put up your hands who owns a business. And I know, and this has nothing to do with you, Jude, okay? But a lot of this went over your head. Correct? Yes. Give him a hand anyways. I'm really not trying to be funny. Because I too, I don't know how many years ago, which Dimitri, he knows, what, 10 years ago? I was approached, and I had I'm not going to say it was an easy business, but it was a simple business. And I see some of you guys in HR. I had a staffing business and paying a crap load of money with CRM, ETSs, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know how many times people ask me, I'm just trying to encourage you to maybe talk to somebody like Jude, because how many of you, and I am simplifying Jude, you take it easy, okay? Right? But how many of you guys have a great idea to automate your business, make it go faster, make more money? Put up your hand. If it's not everybody, you guys are lying. Okay, push that button, make it go faster. And the problem is my business wasn't going fast enough, and we were paying too much for subscriptions to buy these programs. Somebody finally explained it probably as quick as you did. And I said, hold on, if I have an idea and I hire somebody, I get a developer, there's a couple IT people in here, some great companies. Take the time to think about it. And if it wasn't for that conversation that somebody simplified it like you did, my company, I don't know what I would have done. And it was a real game changer. And once you fill out a couple of spreadsheets and you hire somebody like this, and you hire, some IT people, it's unbelievable, the difference. So please take it very, very seriously. So Jude, thank you very much. That was good. Our next speaker, one of my favorite comrades of the whole world. I had the pleasure of working with Dimitri for many years, and he was very instrumental in changing the fabric of our company. And he's going to be coming up here and telling you, this is not a grant program. This is just a little business intelligence, right, Dimitri, we call it? A hidden gem in moving your company forward. So without further ado, Mr. Dimitri Burko.
I apologize to the next person who has to lower that back down. So my name is Dimitri Burko. Thanks, Bruno. I'm going to be talking a little bit about your business operation. And don't touch the side button.
Yep. Don't touch the side button and I will touch the computer.
Okay, good deal. Okay, so I have a weird history in my career. I was a professional recruiter. I've run Canada's largest career college. I have all my CPHR, recruiting, and SHRM, and I'm a designation person, as you can see with all the letters there. So I know a lot about a lot of things, but how does that help you? Well, one of the things that I noticed when I was first in recruiting, and by the way, Bruno placed me as a candidate before I worked for him, so that's how I got the sort of product version of it. I realized that a lot of the people who run a business, they know a lot about their business, and unless your business is recruiting, unpopular opinion, you suck at recruiting. Okay? So if you're on social media, you follow people like Simon Sinek, you've heard things like, hire slow, fire fast. I'm not going to talk about that stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can leverage recruitment practices that we do in agency, or that we did. I don't work in an agency anymore. I do consulting to help people figure this out. But how you can actually use an agency to sort of pre-fund or bridge finance. And the idea that you have to use consultants and contractors who are turnkey solutions to get your business off the ground. Because you might be in your business for a couple of years and thinking, well, why can't I just get there? The problem is usually that you don't have enough time to do what you need to do. So let's talk about some numbers. 73% of potential candidates, either directly looking for an employment relationship or another gig, are passive job seekers. They're not actively applying. Now, if you put up a job posting recently, you'd be surprised by that. My main job is I'm a vice president of operations for Enriched Academy. We do financial literacy training. We recently put up a job. We got 1,000 applications in 8 days. Okay, so the candidates that you are looking for, they're not necessarily applying for jobs. The 94% of hiring professionals that use an applicant tracking system say that it improved their process, but only about 50% of hiring companies have an applicant tracking system. Okay, if you're running it off a spreadsheet, you're going to get there eventually, but it'll take you the long way around. Average job vacancy costs the company $98 a day. Average vacancy is 42 days to fill a position. And you might think that that's fast, a month and a half. Think back to the last job posting that you got. It took you probably several days to get through the candidates. Now, 60% of candidates quit in the middle of applying for a job due to the lengthy and overly complex application form and process. Hands up if you've done that ever before. I know you guys are mostly business owners, but I was recently between jobs and I wanted to like punch a baby. I was so mad about these applicants, like the way that they force you to do this, okay? So I want you to appreciate that the people who have time to apply for that stuff, they're gonna be doing it hundreds of times, okay? Now, top candidates are only on the job market for about 10 days, okay? Now, you, as a business owner, and we were talking at my table, you're going to want to be talking to people and getting candidates that way. It's gonna help you a lot easier. So, next set of numbers here that I wanna talk about, 75% of recruiters experience candidates who decline to continue directly attributed to the lengthy hiring process. So not only the application, but the hiring process, multiple interviews with you, and you end up choosing an internal candidate. If you're doing that, please stop. It's a horrible use of everyone's time. Job seekers want to know the potential salary 70% of the time in the very first message. Are you going to give them that? No, but as a former recruiter, I did every single time. Why? Because people self-select. And when I worked for this corporation that I was at, the largest career college in Canada, I managed a $360 billion budget. When I would hire people, in the message to them, this job pays $50,000 a year, there's no parking, benefits are okay. If you're interested in an interview, let me know. My experience, 4 out of 5 didn't email me back. And that's okay, because I only really wanted to talk to the one. Okay? 67% say that money is the deciding motivator when accepting an offer. Of those who drop out of a recruitment process, 40% said that they had a poor first reaction with a recruiter or a hiring manager. 35% read negative employee reviews, and then it declines from there. Last set of numbers before I come up with some solutions for you. Referrals. If you're a small business and you are not capitalizing on these standardized recruitment best practices in your business, you're not going to get the right candidates. 88% of businesses say their best employees are obtained through referral. 88%, that's almost 9 out of 10. 65% of contingent workers, so non-permanent workers, found jobs through referrals. 79% of applicants use social media when job searching. 84% of companies use social media when recruiting. If you're not in that group, I think you should start. Now, of the companies that use social media for recruiting, you're probably thinking, well, Dimitri, I don't want frontline staff who are surfing Instagram all day looking at cat videos. Okay, well, 87% were non-management salaried positions, 82% management, 55% non-management hourly, and 45% were still executive and upper management. I'm in executive upper management, and I have engaged with a company via a social media platform that was not LinkedIn. Okay? Potential candidates are 46% more likely to accept in-mails, which is a LinkedIn feature if you're not familiar, when they're referred through current staff. So if you're a medium-sized business and you're not incentivizing your staff to bring candidates to the table, as little as like $500, $200, ask your staff, how many hundreds of dollars would it be worth you saying, hey, I have a friend who would be cool to work here? I don't have a number for this, but think about how many of your staff would stay in a job if they had a friend who worked with them too. So your retention on your staff is there as well. And one thing to just sort of break down your bias a little bit, cultural fit is something that I hear from businesses all the time. It's like they need to be a cultural fit, cultural fit. The numbers say that only about 10% of a hiring decision go into cultural fit. The remainder is skills, abilities, and so on. Now it varies by industry. So tech, for example, as a field, 59% of recruiters reported rejecting a candidate due to lack of cultural fit. So yes, you have to expect highly of your potential staff, but their participation in your business is not entirely culture. And you might be biased towards your own culture, and I don't mean like your historical culture as a human, like your heritage. I'm talking about the business that you want to have in the future. So what are some of the solutions that we want to do? We want to talk about how you can finance new hires as contingent workers and deploy recruitment best practices. So if you're not in a position where you work with recruiters, like if you're sitting there and you're like, man, recruiters are like insurance salesmen, I can't run over them fast enough with my car. Okay, that might be your opinion, and that's totally fine. I just want you to listen up, that the other option is that you can just deploy these best practices into your business as well. Firstly, I want you to consider a contingent workforce. Now, why would you do this? You're thinking, the reason I hate recruiters all the time is that they charge me so much money. But think about what you can get. A contingent worker is a turnkey resource that can hit the ground running. You're not hiring and training and figuring out, okay, here's the bathroom, here's your chair. A contingent worker is not an employee, right? Often called a freelancer, contractor. There's a lot of different terminology for it. These are three sort of main buckets. An independent contractor, sometimes we call them ISCs. They might be incorporated, which saves you a little bit on tax, okay? Self-employed, they can be sole proprietorship, which means they don't have articles of incorporation. But if they are incorporated, they come with E&O insurance. Most of the time, they bring their own tools. Like, you have no idea how valuable this laptop is to me because I don't like PCs, even though I can work with them. But guess what? I own this device. I bring it with me as a contractor. Freelance and gig workers also fall into independent contractors, but that's not what you're looking for. Now, temporary contingent workers, let's say you have a project. Where is, Integra Partners, okay? So a document scanning business. You have a project that you want to have 100 people show up tomorrow and be trained to do something. You're not going to find those people yourself. And when do you want them to start? Tomorrow. That's a project that we did back in the day, okay? So I want you to think about the fact that I don't have to train these people. I can find a partner out there in a firm, and there's a couple of them in this room, and they can do that for me. Now, they're unmanaged. That means that they're going to do things in their own way, and they're going to do it on their own time. So to ensure that you're not getting on the wrong side of CRA, you have to accept that fact. Temporary contingent workers, though, are managed. So you have to know what you're getting. Are these hourly employees of a recruitment firm, or is this an independent subcontractor? Now, a consultant, some of you identify as a consultant, and you might actually be an independent subcontractor. A consultant is a specialized expertise that advises organizations. Now, they typically help at high levels. Some of you might call this coaching. This is really important. I am a consultant. I'll come in and tell you how to fix your business, but I'm not going to do the fixing for you. If you want me to do that, that's a different type of relationship. So let's go quickly through some pros of contingent working. Now, it's a hands-off management, okay? No employees, no set schedules. You don't require a great deal of management energy. Now, that can be a downside if you're doing reporting in some of these specialized grant programs. If fewer tax obligations, lower overhead, okay? You're not handling payroll, you're just sort of paying an invoice at the end of the day. No requirement to offer benefits. A lot of consultants, independent contractors have either a partner who provides benefits or they have their own Blue Cross or any other provider. Flexible schedules. You can also control when they work and so on. And really the key here is getting access to specialized expertise so you can get your project launched right away. Now think about independent contractors is that you're paying by invoice. What are invoices net? 30. So if you want somebody to start on the 1st of May, they start working on the 1st of May, when do you pay? By June 30th. Because you get your invoice at the end of the month and it's 30 days terms. So if you're a small business and you're like, I don't know how to do this, I don't have time, right? That's a way that you can use this as a way of quasi-financing your business. Now there are pros for contingent workers as well. Now my own personal situation, my partner when we had young children, she was working as a contractor because we didn't pay for childcare. Now some of you are going to hate me for that, but I'm very proud of that. We didn't pay for childcare. Greater independence of when and how the work gets done. It's a results-based work environment. Just before we were talking about the rates, $250 to $750 an hour. What was the contributing factor to the difference in price? How prepared you were. So if you want to be really, really prepared, you can usually afford somebody who needs a little bit more help. Now, there are some cons of contingent working as well, and you need to understand these, so I'll try and speed up and just give you a couple of few points here. The inability to control workflow. If you are expecting somebody to be there 9 to 5, breaks in between, and sort of like yes sir or ma'am, that's not what you're going to get from a contingent worker. Results-based work environments are different. Now, you can't set that schedule. It's a little bit of a challenge, and there's a risk of misclassification. I'm not an accountant, but if you are somebody who is employing an independent subcontractor, either directly or through a recruiting firm, and they are perceived to be an employee, classified as an employee under CRA, you can get into some trouble, hot water, tax repayment, CPP, and so on. So you need to have a clear delineation. And obviously, if you're trying to grow a business that has a culture that is more than just get the work done, this doesn't contribute to your culture. And so you have to be aware of that. Obviously, there are cons as well for contingent workers themselves, lack of job security, but for some that doesn't matter. Lack of direction. If they're looking for advancement in their own career, you're not going to be able to give that to them. Inherently temporary relationship. And then of course the ineligibility for benefits. So the cost savings are really simple. I've already covered a lot of them, but really it's, you can work your relationship with a recruiting firm. You can have milestones set for savings on margin if you want to. You can have payroll through a firm, so you present candidates and they just handle payroll, do all of your work for you, and you just pay an invoice, right? If you're I went to a seminar once, this guy Brad Sugars, he's like, I don't mow my lawn and I'm happy not to. Like if you want to subcontract that, do that and just pay the bill. But if there's part of your business that you love doing, do it. Referrals, incentives and penalties. So if the product that you're getting out of the workers is not high quality, you can work on, the costs and the payments. You can get volume rebates and so on. So cost savings on supply chain. And then lastly, cost savings on the contractor base. There's some things that you can do here that will provide you additional savings over time. In particular, you can control the rate card, right? So you're not at free market. You're saying, I will only offer this much, and you need to provide trained workers for that. You can do workforce management, and you can say, there's a statement in there if you're looking at it, because I'm not going to read it over, but one of them says worker right sizing. You can replace high cost workers with low cost ones. That might seem really cutthroat, but in reality, if you have a high cost contractor or employee and you can move them into a more specialized position and you have a documentation on how that position works, hire somebody at a lower skill level, turn it into something more lather, rinse, repeat. So I'm over time. Thank you for your patience and listening. Happy to talk more about this. And thank you, Bruno.
All right. So But, what's that?
He punches babies.
Yeah, he punched new ones too. I used to listen to Dimitri at work.
Is that why you're
Obvious-
shorter?
Yeah, I'm way shorter. But in all seriousness, just like the shred, I had no idea. Again, I'm trying to encourage you guys to really kind of go, holy crap, that's a lot, okay? At the end of the day, that's why there's experts. I don't have a dog in this race anymore. I'm not in that industry technically anymore. However, I have the bruises and the gray hairs to prove it. But I became a little psychotic about it. And I can only share a similar story than shred. I always, it's not for me, it's not for me, it's not for me. And how I got to Calgary really quick, because I want to encourage you guys to really look at this strategy. Okay? I can't even be, we're sharing here, this is a community. And how I got to Calgary was on a presidential project for Petro-Canada on re-engineering the retail network. That was unbelievable. I can't even believe they trusted me at that age. I really don't. And I used to get a call from, I can give her a shout out, she's kind of retired right now, Susan Chesney, and she was trying to explain this to me, and I'm like, it makes sense, doesn't make sense. One of the best recruiters I've ever met. And then finally I get into staffing, and I'm like, and I used to manage like 300-400 people. And I'm like, why the hell did I not do this? It is the easiest thing in the world, and I'm rolling my inventory money. So I'll just leave it at that. If you guys need it, talking about it, I'm a little bit over the top, but I'm pretty concise about this. I'll tell you the 3 benefits, like Dimitri said. I really mean it, because if you can't find money and you do pay your bills, if you don't pay your bills, turn the camera off, you're an effing asshole. So don't do that. If you're one that pays your bills and you're not going to screw somebody, this is one of the best strategies you could ever use in your company. And we're talking about culture for contractors or full-time people. If you're an asshole to a full-time employee, you're going to be an asshole to a contractor. So, and the opposite's right. So I'm very passionate about this because it has saved many businesses to get to the next level. Think of GE. 45% of their employees, they're not even employees, they're contractors. So if it works for GE, it'll work for you. Anyways, what do we got? Oh, it's Caitlin. All right, thanks guys.
Awesome. I gotta turn it on. How do I do that? Side. Up higher. Found it. Found the button. All right. Amazing. Thank you. Lots of good information. Yes, when you finally explained that to me, I was like, oh, that would have been super helpful. Being able to delay that payment and let our clients pay us first, and then have that 30-day grace to pay our contractors. So it was this epiphany moment for me and too in our business. So really appreciate that. And yeah, I thought Shred was just for like tech companies. I'm like, that doesn't apply to me. Oh, I could do some really cool stuff with that. So learning about these things are going to be super awesome. Go talk to these guys at break. We're going to have break right now, but first I want to make sure we talk about AccuSpire and joboffer.com. So Stephen Wensley is here. Give him a giveaway so you can see. Yep. Stephen has given us a special exclusive offer only for anybody in this room. And so you can, it's up on the screen in a slideshow. You can come over here and see him and get the special offer. But you're able to put, I think, unlimited job postings. And they have this really cool AI technology to do job matching, getting the right fit, the right candidate, right to the right job solution. Really neat software system that is supposed to help sort of expedite this whole process, right, when we're talking about hiring. So make sure you talk to Stephen. There's an exclusive offer. Make sure you get yourselves on that platform, because I think you're not charging anybody here to get on that platform, right? It's all free. So make sure you do that, because it's a great tool and a great asset. As well, all the other speakers and our sponsors who are going to introduce after the break, they've got special offers for you guys. So everybody has a QR code on your tag, on your name tag here. Scan that QR code. These are offers just for everybody here. We'll also text them to you after if you've got the text messages, so that you can get access to whatever you're interested in. It's about lifting each other up. And so the sponsors and the speakers and everybody's come together to make sure they give you lots when you come here and lift each other up and really connect and support each other. So with that, I will let you guys have some coffee, some tea, some cheese, some veggies, and get networking, and we'll come back in about 15-20 minutes. Sound good? Thank you.
All right, we're starting in 20 seconds. 19, 18. Have I mentioned your job is on the line? 18.
It's your, yeah. We're sitting.
Yeah, we're good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Shit, I can't remember what comes after that. All right, Power Network Group, I got a special guest coming up here today with a special offer. I'd like to invite our good friend Stephen Wensley from joboffer.com. Stephen's just way too nice of a guy to say this, and he is basically becoming, slowly but surely, not only the most handsome guy in job search boards, but what's that? I know. No, you're the cutest. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, very quietly, and I'm very proud of Stephen and what he's done. Very quietly, he's becoming the Canadian Indeed. So it's unbelievable what he's done. I want to give him the floor because his offer is very generous if you're somebody that is posting jobs, as Dimitri kind of talked about. And also if you're kind of looking for jobs or a candidate kind of thing. And I'm not saying that very lightly. There's a reason why we put them on here, because we want your companies to grow. And thank you very much for the generous offer. But you got the floor for a couple minutes here, Stephen. Let's give him a hand.
Amazing. Thanks for the kind intro, Bruno. Can everyone hear me?
Use that one.
Okay. Thanks for the kind intro, Bruno. Can everyone hear me now? Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so first off, I want to say thank you to Bruno for doing this event and inviting me to be here. But I have to thank Bruno actually for, just introducing himself several years back. Actually, he met me at Arlene Dickinson's accelerator when we were going through it on graduation day. I got thrown into that. It was an amazing event, and he was the only one in the room that, came to me after and spent a solid amount of time exploring what we did. And he really believed in the mission and the vision and the product, and has been a moral supporter all the way through. And I'm really happy that you've been a mentor all the way through the past few years. So a big part of our success is thanks to this guy here, and behind the scenes working some magic. And yeah.
Because his success is because of me.
So I know you weren't expecting that, but I just wanted to say. And then I wanted to say something about Shred, because Jude did a fantastic presentation. And that's been another major piece of our success, has been successful grants through Shred. And so, we have two key pieces of our backstory, Bruno here on one hand and then Shred on the other. So what you guys really need to think about is, do I have someone, who's kind of got my back in my business as a mentor and advisor, but do I have financing in place as well? So leverage all these programs today. So anyway, our offer to you today, with joboffer.com, we have a special offer for you, and it's not going to be for everybody. This is exclusive for the room. It is free to post on our platform. So I know most of you guys are business owners, which is fantastic. How many people here have posted a job in the past year, or just hired someone in general over the past year? Put up your hand. So a pretty good chunk of the room. How many people here have a friend who owns a business that's hired in the past year that you know of? It should be basically everyone. So on your table today, there is a card with a QR code on the back. And if you use this QR code, we're going to give you a 1-week feature to actually have your job posted on our homepage. We're going to do a job alert broadcast to our job seekers. We'll put you top of placements in search, so your job gets featured. And what happens is, when your job goes live, we have an AI engine that does matching behind the scenes, and it's going to find the people that are within the geography you specified. So if you're hiring in Calgary or 100-kilometer radius in Calgary, it's going to find all of those people, but it's going to narrow it down to people that have the specialization that you requested in your job. So the skills, the tools, the experience, role types, industries, anything that you're looking for, it's going to find those people, kind of like a high-speed recruiter, and it's going to find those in a matter of minutes, and then send those people a text and or email alert. So it's a really great opportunity to hire free of charge, and you're supporting a local business. So yeah, thank you very much.
And of course, I got to mention Michael Benetti now, the hottest man in recruiting, former recruiting. And the other thing I'd like to point out is our good friend, the Colonel, Kenton, maybe you can stand up. So the Colonel's doing sound for us, and he really is not somebody to walk by. He's an incredible producer. He produces our band. And that being said, we're not shamelessly promoting our band or anything like that, but we have t-shirts that were on sale last time people asked for it. We don't raise money for us. It goes to Center for Newcomers. So if you guys want a t-shirt, either steal one or buy one, I don't give a shit, but just take one, show your stripes, and Kenton, thank you very much for that. Thanks for having me. Okay, our next speaker is going to be talking about the Alberta, Alberta Job Training Grant, which is a federal program that they kind of break it down in provinces. And rather than ask somebody at the government agency to come and talk to us, we thought we would have a recipient, somebody that went through it, somebody that we totally admire. I think whoever knows Ifoma here, from Yes to Amazing, you will say that she is one of the most special people we've ever met. You guys did training together. Okay, so enough of us. Ify, come on up.
Hey. Hot seat.
All right.
This feels up close and personal.
Yeah.
To be part of the action.
Pretty good, thank you.
So rather than do a presentation, we're just going to be asking you a couple of questions. Beautiful hair. Where do I get some of that? I need some of that.
I know. Thank you. You're gonna not look good.
So before we get to the Job Alberta, I can never remember that because it's Alberta Job Training Grant. What does Yes to Amazing do?
Yes to Amazing works with specifically immigrant women to be successful, whether they're wanting to be successful in their careers or in business or in their personal lives. A lot of immigrants have barriers in this country when they come here, but they also have a lot to offer. There's a lot on the table that we're not accessing by working with immigrants. And also, a lot of us already work with immigrants, and so helping them through that cultural integration. And also, really very, very passionately and fiercely helping them to be financially independent. So understanding where they currently are and putting together strategies for them to get to where they want to be, because I know that a lot of us left our home countries to come to this land of opportunity because we have bigger dreams. And so that's what Yes to Amazing does.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So can you tell us a little bit about the Alberta Job Training Grant and how difficult of a process was it for you to apply? Like, give it to us straight.
Absolutely. So anybody that has applied for any grant will know that if it's not something you do every day, it's actually a challenging feat. And sometimes you don't get the grant because you probably don't know what you're doing, like Leslie had shared earlier. And so for the Alberta Job Training Grant, the application process was not too terrible. You first had to create the Alberta ID, I think it was. And then once I did that, following through the steps, with some guidance, I was able to put in that application very quickly. However, what I wanted to, when I put in the application, they did come back with some requests, but it was very fast, within a couple of days. I thought this was going to be a few weeks of a process. They came back, they had some requests. I had no idea what the terms were. So I reached out to some other people that have done the grant before and to Bruno as well, who was guiding me. And I responded that I absolutely do not have what they are requesting for. So I was expecting that they were going to come back and say no, so you can go forward. But no, the grant, Alberta government workers, they got back to me. They were like, okay, fine. Your grant is approved. So it was very quick. The only thing that I needed to be mindful of was the fact that you have to have a skin in the game. So for a grant, you do have to have, either you have all of it at first, and then you get back some of the monies, and that's sometimes a barrier that people think that if they are not getting the money up front, then they won't go forward with applying for that grant. But there are ways and options to go around that and to make sure that you have a skin in the game before you apply.
Awesome. So what can you receive as a recipient of the training grant?
So the opportunity that that grant gives to employers is that your employees, if they're already working for you, they can get a maximum of $10,000 in a year. And if it's a new employee, they can get $15,000 a year. And the employer or the organization can get $300,000 a year. So even as a small business owner, just think of what that opportunity does for your business and for your employees, because I think most employees like to be trained and to get training. So this is a great opportunity actually for everyone.
That's great. And it starts every year?
Yes.
Like it resets, right?
Yes. And if you're also, you have to have not more than 4 employees, including yourself. So you can actually also apply as the owner of the business.
And that's only in Alberta that they do that?
Yes, this is for Alberta. I
So
don't
if you
know
have
what the
4
other.
or less employees, the owners of the company can get the grant, which is a huge thing, because I know that just recently we were talking to some people in Ontario and they don't get it.
Yeah.
They have to be an employee, so.
Absolutely.
So can you speak a little bit to how this grant and the ability to take training that you might not have had budget for, how has that impacted you and your company's and just lifestyle all around?
It's, it's been a blessing for me because, even if a business had the $300,000, they could use that for something else, right? And so for me, being able to get that grant to do the training, I hope that when you listen to me talk about Yes to Amazing, you were convinced that I was doing something good. Because that's part of what I had to learn through the training that I went through. I had been working since I came to Canada for several years, and so when I decided that I was going to become an entrepreneur, one of the things I knew I needed to do was professional sales training, right? Because I have my employee mindset. So to be a successful businesswoman, I needed to learn how to be a businesswoman and not just work for somebody. And so I couldn't have just done that by just accessing the information on social media, because there's so much out there, but knowing exactly what to do to be successful. But what has that actually done for me? That opportunity to do that training, I also see it as an opportunity that I'm able to give back to other people, because not only am I confident in my work as a businesswoman, but I'm also a role model for other people that are underrepresented to know that they can do whatever they want to do. And it's just because I was able to get access to that resource. But also with what I do and that passion that I come forward with, I think it creates an opportunity for other people as well to be successful. And if I didn't do that training, I think I'll still be doing that, but it'll be a lot of toil and a lot of energy wasted, and nobody wants to do that.
I love it. Can you train me now to speak as eloquently as you just did? I mean, I commend you for what you've done, and that's really incredible. And the impact that, even $10,000 has on a small business when you're getting going and are looking for specific tools to uplift your employees. That's a game changer. I work at a big corporation and I don't have that access to that kind of money for professional development. So a really, really great opportunity for small businesses.
And lastly, I want to point out that Yvonne was talking about Yes to Amazing, and it's okay if I tell it. You're a trained CPA, right? And so she also is in the financial planning business. And trust me, I've had the opportunity for now like 6-7 years to get to know you and work through you, with you, and all that kind of stuff. And you truly are an amazing person. So if you guys have any, any time here tonight, or get her card, truly it would be a blessing if they talk to you and find out more about the job grant and all that kind of stuff, but also what you do for a living, because it's been game changing. You changed a lot of lives. So thank you very much, Ifoma.
Thank you for your time. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Are we ready for Kevin? Just mic drop right there. Kevin from Enta Solutions will shed some light on using the Canadian Digital Adoption Plan to boost your online business presence. So we're just going to jump right into it, Kevin.
Okay, I like
you
that.
want this one though, because you're a walker and a talker. I heard that.
I know. I just don't want to trip on the chair. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin. How's it going? Oh, I love this. Is much better. Thank you. We're just queuing up my presentation. So while Caitlin's getting me going, because I'm using Canva, not PowerPoint, social media guy. I will tell you, this is the first time I've spoken in front of this many people since 2017, so I'm a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. The last time I spoke in front of a lot of people was in Corner Hall in Toronto, and I was working for Indigo Books and Music at the time, and I had the opportunity to interview Doug Gilmour on stage in front of 650 people. And he had just written a book, so I was asking him questions about the book. We're in the green room, and I look at Doug, and I'm like, man, I'm nervous. You're my hockey hero. That's why they picked me, because they knew he was my hockey hero. And I said, yeah, I hope this goes well. He's like, what do you mean you're nervous? And I said, well, no, man, like, you're used to being in front of thousands of people. He's like, yeah, but I didn't have to talk to them. So we went out there, and we did our best, but yeah, it obviously made it a lot more comfortable because I had somebody else to share the terror with. So here we go. So the importance of having a social media strategy. First of all, I'll let you know what I do. I'm a director of digital culture at Enta Solutions. I work with Adam and Caitlin, and we have an amazing team of videographers, video editors, graphic designers, and we do social media for businesses. We do video production and storytelling, and I was just talking to Jason and Rob on the break, and they're from InTactics. They're right there, and we've done some videos for them. And so we get to meet really great people and do some amazing things to help them push their business forward. And it's the best job in the world, so thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to work with you guys. Taking a retail guy, love you too, all right. So, the importance of having a social media strategy, we will go into the next slide. I don't have the clicker. Hold on, I'm rusty. Oh, you got me? Do you want me just to like, because I'll go backwards on the clicker. So these are just some of the clients that we work with on the social media side, or used to work with on the social media side. It's been a great experience for me to work with different clients because we essentially become a part of their marketing team to the point where they forget that we work for Enta. So I'm like, oh, yeah, no, we still work for Enta. So, Caitlin, next slide. First question I have is, who has social media for your business? Yay, awesome, okay. Y'all love it, right? Yeah, okay, I gotta help you with that. All right, and who has time to create content and promote their business online with their social media? Yeah, that's what I was thinking was going to happen. We got you. We talked to a lot of people that have that problem. So, and does everybody here struggle with great content ideas, how and when to deliver them, how to make them impactful for your customer or your audience? Yeah, even we do our own, and sometimes we have a tough time. So, we get it. Perfect. Okay, so, see, I'm going to stay under the 10 minutes. I'm impressed. Yeah, fantastic. And does everybody here in the room know what tools you can use? And some of them are free, Canva. And what platforms make the most sense for your business from a social media perspective? So we've got TikTok, we've got YouTube, we've got LinkedIn. I think everybody here is probably on LinkedIn. We've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got Snapchat, we've got... I don't want to talk about X. Let's not go with X. We don't touch X, by the way. It's just a bit of a cesspool. But we touch everything else. Okay, so Caitlin, next slide. Perfect. And do you know what and how your competitors are doing on social media? I don't think I worded that properly, but do you know what your competitors are doing and how well they're doing with it? Okay, all right. It's a great room, I like it. And are they doing it better than you? Ouch. Yeah, okay. So, my favorite saying is, hope is not a plan. Okay, hope is never a plan. So if you're doing your own social media, you have to have a strategy. You have to have some sort of a plan to execute it, because otherwise, with everybody being so busy in this room running your business, you're never gonna have time to do it, right? I know Caitlin and Adam work about 120 hours a week. So I'm assuming everybody else in this room probably averages about 120 hours a week, right? So hey, we wanna be entrepreneurs, or we wanna start our own business. Nobody talks about how much work goes into that, and then you're in it, and you don't have a choice, right? You're like, oh, I've got nobody else but me, so here we go, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the importance of having a strategy. So we're gonna move on to the next slide. So what is a social media strategy? Next slide. I should have got this. Yeah, there we go. So the 4 things that we do is we create for our clients a goals and baseline, platform strategy, content strategy, and an engagement strategy. Okay? So we create these things, but the client still has to do the work. But the difference is we're giving you a map, not a compass. Okay? If you have a compass, you don't know really where you're going. You know you're going in one direction, but when you have a map, you've got achievable objectives each time you hit a point on that map. And our goal is to make that map clear for you, but you still have to draw the map, right? You still have to make the work to put your social media into the limelight for your clients and your customers. So there is work involved. Next slide. Goals and baseline, what is that? Next slide. What are your goals? So I'll tell you what everybody in this room's goals likely are when it comes to social media. Next slide. More content engagement, driving website traffic, selling, and getting more followers. But most importantly, selling, right? You need customers, right? Whether you're selling a service or you're selling a product, you need customers to buy that service or that product. Without those things, you don't have a business. And the 120 hours a week you're all working doesn't mean anything because you're not making sales. Yes, you can do digital advertising, you can do ad campaigns, you can do outreach, you can do all those things, but those things also cost a lot of money, right? And there's not a lot of people out there that know how to do it well. That's the other thing too. You can get taken advantage of really quick when you're like, well, I don't know, just make it work. Oh, $15,000? I don't have $15,000. Oh, I have to pay now? Okay, that happens to people, right? So if you can organically grow your own social media, you're winning. I think that's a Caitlin term. Feels like it is. Next slide. So then we establish a baseline. So next slide. So it's really important you research what and how your competitors are doing, and that's what we do. We go in and we look at all the competitors, and we find out what they're doing on social media, where they're doing their social media, how much engagement they're getting in the social media, and how many followers they're getting. Their overall content strategy becomes really obvious. And what we discover a lot with competitors is they don't really have a strategy. They don't really have a goal. They're just putting content out there, which is better than nothing, by the way. Having something is always better than nothing. So if you're just taking a selfie of you drinking a cup of coffee and talking about your 120-hour work week and putting it on LinkedIn, that's a post. And that's likely going to get a lot of engagement from everybody else that's putting in 120 hours a week. Fair? It's that simple, right? So the next thing we do is we come up with a platform strategy. We've had clients in the past that are actually using the wrong platform. So they're selling a product and they're using LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is selling a service. It's business to business. Business to consumer is TikTok, Instagram, even Facebook. And I cringe because I'm like, who uses Facebook anymore? But everybody keeps telling me they use it, so I should stop saying that. But yeah, if you're selling a product, you want to go somewhere where people shop. And LinkedIn is not about shopping for a product, it's shopping for a business service. So, making sure you have the right platform strategy is super important. How am I doing for time, Juanita? Oh my God, okay. So what platforms make sense are really important. Third thing is having a content strategy. So you need to be able to connect with the right audience at the right time with the right content. Incredibly important because you can lose them really quick. And if you're just flooding people's network with posts that aren't really that great, they might just mute you or even unfollow you, and you never want that, right? So you need to have a content strategy to help you stay aligned with what your goals are and what you want to say about your business and who you want to say it to. Here's a quick look at a content strategy that we just recently did for Cycle City. It's 5 to 7 pillars that are main pillars, and we cycle content based on each pillar so that the client has an opportunity. I saw you taking a picture. I'll send you the bill later. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, okay. And you are handsome, by the way. I don't care what Bruno says. I know, right? So, but really, really important that you don't just come up with your main pillars of what that looks like, but you come up with sub-pillars so that you're rotating that content through and you're keeping it fresh. But what our clients are doing and what Cycle City is doing is this is the map. They're creating their own content. They're doing all the work, but now they have a map with different ideas of what content they can put out there. Because James, I think it's James, I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's James. Poor James is selling, and he's also doing their social media. So social media is not his primary job. He doesn't have time to try to sit there and figure out ideas, so we give him a whack of them with this. Next slide. So why do you use it? Creates brand consistency, creates connection, creates value for your followers because they will unfollow you, or they won't follow you to begin with if your social media is crap. If it's Scottish, it's crap, or if it's not Scottish, it's crap. Sorry, referencing a movie. Moving on to the next slide. Fourth is the engagement strategy. This is where your work comes in. Next slide. Network. So not this type of networking, online, right? So we have a client, his name is Robin Finley, Finley Inspection Services. He will go and comment on posts, letting people know that his business can help them. And he's getting business from it because they're now checking out his social media platform and they're able to understand what he does, how he does it, and how good he is at it. And there's also video content out there that they can tell that he's an authentic guy that actually cares about the business that he's doing. So his social media channel is helping him win, and it's costing him a little bit of time to go in and make those comments, but it's winning for him because he's getting clients, and he's now making clients. He just sent me an email today, actually, so it's well timed. Next slide, use video. Okay, so not everybody has money for video production. I get it. Use your phone, right? Your phone is almost as good, sorry, Brian, I'm going to say this, almost as good as a professional video camera if it's a newer phone. Not quite as good, but almost. Video content rocks. So if Robin Tactics is about to walk into a client meeting and he's like, hey, I'm going into this client meeting to talk about safety and how important it is and how we can help them. I can't wait to see what the client's going to say without mentioning who the client is. Puts it up on LinkedIn. Boom, people are going to be like, I feel you. I've been in your shoes. I'm about to walk in that room with you. I get it, right? That's content that's winning, and you don't have to draw it, you don't have to cut and paste it, and you don't have to use AI to generate it. We won't talk about AI. Okay, so video is incredibly important. And don't post and goes. So when you start posting content, don't leave the platform. Start liking other people's posts, right? Start connecting and commenting on other people's posts as your company. Then they're gonna be like, oh, that's really cool that Enta Solutions said that. What did they do? Click, and they'll look at the post that you just put up. It's actually not rocket science, but it does take a little bit of time. But again, with a map, it's a lot faster to do and a lot less complex and a lot less daunting. So, last slide. A strategy makes creating content easier and posting consistently easier. And we all want that easy button. Anybody have that Staples easy button on their desk? Yeah, I know. Mine broke. My kid broke it. I had one. And next slide. Thank you. That's it. That's all I got for you. Hopefully I stayed in my 10 minutes. Thank you for your time, guys.
Whoa. Legs off. got this one?
All right, thanks, Kevin. That was great. Fantabulous.
I got that info.
Did you?
Canadian Digital Adoption Program.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just teasing.
That's all right.
No, that was great, very insightful.
I was saying it
I
10
said,
times fast.
I said I got bad intel by introducing you to speak about something that you didn't want to speak on. So, Bruno's going to add some comments here.
Yeah, no, the only comment is last but not least, we have Mian from MCG Careers. The common thread here is that a lot of these programs, some of us have used. And, you know, this is not a political statement whatsoever, okay? So it's not one party versus the other. These government programs are there to help people. And put up your hand who went through MCG. So we have Juanita and Marcus over here, because Marcus can't hear me, because he's the sound guy. And they really, really work. We had like about 10 people in the last 5 years that we helped train, and now are absolutely 100% employable. And this company, these events would not go on without these 2 people, at least. And there's 2 other people that are on vacation right now. So I'd love for you guys to give them a hand, because it was a tough journey to getting into a trade that they had no idea what it was, and now they're gainfully employed. And we thank your company before you start on. So these are real things. So please give Marcus and Juanita a big hand for going through the program. So, Mr. Mian.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Bruno, for your invite and having us here tonight. Before formal presentation or introduction, I would like to introduce my Provincial Operation Manager, Diana Branson. She joined me this evening as well. So my name is Mia. I'm the Program Coordinator of Workplace Training Program, MCG Careers. Just want to use this. Yeah. Okay. So MCG Career has been providing career planning, employment preparation, skill training, and job search services support since 1989 with the corporate values, respect, human dignity, empathy, communication, information, adaptability, flexibility, and achievement of result. We believe, see good things. So MCG program and services in the last 35 years, with the government, through the government funding, we provided a wide variety of successful programming for unemployed and underemployed Albertans, including workplace training program, career and employment information services, program for mature workers, youth employment program, rapid employment services, employment program for workers facing barriers to employment, and so many others. So mostly, thank you. We help unemployed Albertans to find meaningful employment, providing skills enhancement and capacity building workshops. Regarding the workplace training program, so workplace training program is designed specifically for small and medium business owners and all those clients who lost their jobs and are currently on EI or received EI in the last 5 years and are employed right now. So basically we bridge the gap between unemployed Albertans and the employers looking for the talent. So under the workplace training program, we provide wage subsidy to the employer and also provide some special funding for the specialized training to train and fully skilled and equip the newly hired person during the on-job training services. So the on-job training services, we provide wage subsidy for up to 26 weeks upon selection of a EI candidate. The only eligibility criteria is the candidate or the person should be unemployed and or on EI or received EI in the last 5 years. So I think I clicked the miss button. Looks like that. Sorry about that. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So excellent fit for employers who are looking to create a great new employee fit through investment in on-the-job training. Seeking HR recruitment and training cost solution, the Winning Edge WPT program provide wage subsidies to the employer for the duration of the eligible employer's training program for a time period of up to 26 weeks, depending upon the complexity of training required to bring the employee's skill level in line to meet all the requirements for the role. Cost for outside training and certification necessary to meet training requirements for a specific role may also be eligible for cost recovery. In the last couple years, we place in these industries, we help the employers working in these industries and place numerous clients and help them bring back them to the job market. So these are the areas where we work, and we place a lot of people there. And at the end, I won't take that long. These are the contact information of the workplace training program. I myself, that's the email address, and the Diana, Provincial Operation Manager email address. So, okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mian. And that kind of brings us to the end of the program. I'll let Miranda do the final goodbyes and hellos. But I really can't emphasize, and I've been kind of a broken record here because some of you, I know some people couldn't make it tonight. We had a smaller group by design because we weren't sure how many people we could fit in this place. So there wasn't a lack of people wanting to do this, but some people might say, this doesn't apply to me, this doesn't apply to me, this doesn't apply to me, but the words that always resonate with us, think about when you get hit by a salesperson, they go, I want to partner with you. How many people say that to you guys? Am I the only guy they suck me in on this shit? But seriously, they go, I want to partner with you. That means they want to sell you something, correct? And if you want to be a really good partner for somebody, even though some of these things you don't think apply to you, which I think all of these apply to you, suggest them to somebody that you think might. Because if they're going to get busier, you're going to get busier. And I was just thinking about this when Mian was talking, is that there's not one program that was presented today that I have not participated with one of my companies at some point. And I'm going to tell you something. I come from Ottawa, the Holy Land, full of holes, and surrounded by government this, government that. And there's just so many programs that your money is going into that you don't reap any benefits. And even if it's not you that can directly benefit from this, please tell one of your business partners. Because as they grow, you grow, like I said before. And I'm very, very, very passionate about this because small to medium-sized businesses, we go down, this country goes down. So kind of suck it up and help your fellow business person and partner. And I know I'm being harsh about it, but this is what it's all about. And this business community that we've built at YYC and Megapix is all about that. If you care, you share. If you don't, then just don't bother. So that being said, Miranda, what do we got?
Yeah, so much left to talk about. I'll just say thank you so much for everybody taking the time to come out. I know it's after a long day. Sometimes networking is not top priority. So kudos for everybody for showing up. Thank you so much to our incredible speakers for sharing your knowledge, your experiences, your expertise. And I hope everybody took something away from tonight, even if it was just making a new connection. So thank you, drive safe, and hope to see you next time.
Thanks, Miranda, and thanks, Bruno, for hosting, and thank you to all our speakers. I know that talking about the SHRED program, with Jude and understanding that it's not just about tech companies. There's technology in your company you can use it for. Like, ask about the impact, because I think it's huge dollars, right? Huge dollars availability. The CDAP program, which the Canadian Digital Adoption Program, we talked about social media strategy. The $2,400 one is still open. So the $16,000 one to like automate your business processes has been closed. They used it up a year ahead of time. That's how many applicants they had. The $2,400 one is still open. You can get a social media strategy. You can get website updates done. Who doesn't want $2,400 in their pocket, right? Thanks. The training program has been so key. To be able to offer training to our employees, like we're only a 10-person company. To be able to say, go take this $5,000 training, like we don't have that in our budget when we're scaling and growing, but to have the government support that, it's huge. These grants are just amazing. They really do take your business to the next level. So please, I hope you learned something today that you can take and put into your business to fund success. It really does make a huge difference. And I just want to give a shout out last, you see our sponsors here. So this Power Network group was sponsored by Dream Reach Achieve, where you can get your professional sales training. It is game changing. Thank you, Bruno, for those. And then it's also sponsored by Top Dog. Where's Greg? Where's my Greg? There you are. Top Dog Tips. You want to get onto that show, find out your sales and marketing strategy with Greg. And then Entis Solutions has also sponsored tonight. So this was all made possible by our sponsors. We cannot do that without sponsors. Everybody here was gifted a ticket because of those sponsors. So we want to say thank you to them. You guys make it possible to run events like these, to bring everybody together, to network, to find out how we can lift our businesses up and lift each other up. So looking forward to seeing you all at the next one, which will probably be in June if we don't decide to do one in between. But we'll make sure you guys get invites, and thank you so much. Enjoy some more networking and drive home safe, like Miranda said. Thank you.